Thanks. So I'm Andrew Hancock. I'm 27, but my hairline's 77. Screw you too, then. So, I have an issue, multiple personal problems disorder. And my driving habits are a little crazy. People ask me how I get from point A to point B, and I'm like, as many yellow lights as it takes. Which your insurance company doesn't really appreciate. So, I need to find a new one. I like this one. It has a first-time accident forgiveness, but apparently that does not include vehicular manslaughter, even if it's involuntary. So a little bit more about myself. I'm also agnostic, and so it's kind of weird because people congratulate you for something that you don't know. You know, any other situation, it could be like someone coming up to you and asking you like, hey, do you have the directions to the nearest hospital? I really don't know. Okay, cool, thanks, man. So I also recently took a genealogy test and found out that I'm mostly Irish, Jewish, and 3% Spanish, which was the surprising part. Because, you know, I'm just thinking like 100 years ago, one of my ancestors from Ireland went down south for spring break. And they're just like, who's really going to find out about this? So, speaking of family, I'm a father now. It's not that impressive. There's like 8 billion of us. So, her name is Katniss Mercedes Hancock. And thanks. So based off her mother's naming convention, if it were up to me, it would have been Frodo Tesla Hancock. So I think she got to do it instead. So I have a buddy of mine, and he has a little Mexican descent, and his brother's name's Ricardo, but he prefers to go by Richard when he's in the States, but he actually prefers Dick instead. Not the joke, but okay. So I asked him, well, then if he prefers Dick, what's more of like the Spanish translation for that? And he's like, well, there really isn't any, but the closest would be penne. And I'm like, penne pasta? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, can't do Olive Garden anymore. So speaking of food, a buddy of mine, we're walking down the street and noticed that there's an Ethiopian marketplace. So I asked him, have you ever had Ethiopian food? Yeah. He said no. I was like, neither have they. And if you're offended by that, still waiting for you to send them some food. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Well, they probably just have dirt, MREs, Red Cross tents inside. No, don't be racist. It was a normal, grocery store, but they kept playing Sarah McLachlan's Angel over and over and over. It's the only song that they had. But I really need to start taking care of myself. Today I worked out 6 years ago. And so recently I took myself to the ER because I felt like this chest pain, my throat was closing up. I'm like, oh, this sucks. So I go get checked out. They're like, okay, we're going to do an EKG on you. And I'm like, all right. So they start putting the leads everywhere. And he prints it off, comes back from the room, and he's like, doesn't look good. I'm like, all right. He's like, yeah, we're going to have to reprint this. The ink ran out. True story. So, as it turns out, I actually have GERD, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like an extreme version of acid reflux. And they were telling me about how it's considered a form of disability. So, which is kind of a weird spectrum for disability, right? You have like a blind girl going to an art gallery. People call her inspirational. You have a guy in a wheelchair working on a Stairmaster. They call him brave. Me, I go to a Taco Bell. I don't get a standing ovation. So, really don't want to keep you guys in suspense for my last joke.